What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Robbie Miles. What a fun video I have planned for you guys today. We're talking Scream Factory, we're talking 1998 horror, and we're talking this movie that is, of course,
guaranteed to jack you up.
One of my absolute favorite movies of all time that I'm so excited to talk about, and that is none other than this beautiful edition from Scream Factory, 4K edition of The Faculty. Now, if you were a child like me, born in '86, I was like 12, I think, when this came out, or 11 or 13. I was in middle school, somewhere around there, because this movie came out in 1998, so I think I was 12. I'm not a math teacher, so I'm good with that math. But this movie came out when I was 12. And 1998 is, like, to be honest with you, possibly my favorite year for horror of all time. It is a epitome of 90s horror. So many great titles came out the year. I'm going to go over them in just a second. But yeah, so I had a chance to watch this last night, and I have all kinds of amazing things to tell you and talk about. But I also want to talk about the time period that it came out and some of the other things that make this movie so special, because I'm guessing if you're watching this, you've probably seen this movie. Chances are you've seen it. And if you haven't, go watch it. Stop watching my video. I give you full permission, and go watch this now, because it fucking rules. I love The Faculty so much. So anyway, before we do anything, thank you guys for hanging out. I'm starting to realize just how important these like buttons are. So if you guys could hit that like button, please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. As always, thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for the love. I got a big heart for you guys today, if I'm doing that correctly. So thank you guys for hanging out. Hit that like button. It really helps the videos get spread to other people, and gets the videos out there for people to see. The more likes, the more shares it gets. So thank you guys for that. Please like, please subscribe, tell your friends, guys. Miles of Horror is your hub, okay, for physical media, for horror, for posters, books, all that good stuff. And listen, there's so many great channels out there. Watch them all, okay? I'm not the only place to watch this stuff, but watch all the other great YouTubers out there. There's so many great ones. And in fact, so many YouTubers that I take inspiration from. So I'm glad everyone's getting love, and watch those guys, watch me. I appreciate it. It's a great community to be here on YouTube, and let's get into it, guys. So 1998, okay? Before I even get into that year of horror and this movie itself, and why I love it, and this actual 4K transfer and all that good stuff, let me just say that this movie, okay, and I hadn't seen it in a few years, so I forgot just how good it is. But the soundtrack, guys, in this movie, right from the bat, like right off the bat, right when this movie starts, it hits with, in the opening scene, "The Kids Aren't All Right" by Offspring, which is like again, like, it is so 90s, guys. The nostalgia hits so hard. Okay, it's one of my favorite, grungy songs from that time period, and it really just represents the movie so well. So the movie starts out. You have "Kids Aren't All Right" by Offspring. You have that classic, amazing rendition of "Class of '99." "Another Brick in the Wall" by the remake by Class of '99, and that whole scene in the movie when that song is playing is just killer. Like, oh my god, it's just such a great movie. You have a Creed song in here. Like, I completely didn't even realize that, and I'm watching, and I'm like, is that Scott Stapp? And "I'm 18" by Creed. So, like, again, it's 90s to a T, and for a child of the 90s, born in '86, it just doesn't get any more 90s than The Faculty, and it just has such a special place in my heart, guys. It really does. I love The Faculty so much. So anyway, the soundtrack is banging. If you don't remember, those are just a couple songs on the soundtrack, among other great, grungy hits. The cast, guys. Like, I was going back through the cast, and I remember, like, Josh Hartnett and Elijah Wood and all that. But listen to this cast, okay? Again, we're talking The Faculty from 1998. Listen to this cast. Are you ready for this? You have Josh Hartnett, who is he's an I love that. He's an icon of grunge from the 90s. The haircut, the long sleeve undershirts that he rocks in, like, every movie, his mannerisms, the way he, like, cups a girl's like chin when he kisses them. Don't ask me why like that stuck out to me, but like he is just the epitome of boy toy, grungy, like flavor, man. I love Josh Hartnett. And in this movie, he is no different. This is like the heart of his acting. So you have Josh Hartnett. You have Elijah Wood before The One Ring. You have Jon Stewart before The Daily Show. You have Famke Janssen before X-Men. You have Robert Patrick T-1000 himself, Selma Hayek, Piper Laurie, Chris McDonald, a.k.a. Shooter McGavin. Like, this cast is outstanding. And the amount of people that are in this movie completely shocked me. I didn't remember all these people were in this movie. So anyway, banging soundtrack, banging cast, and I'm a teacher, guys. So like so much of this movie hits so hard for me. Like even the opening scene when like they're in the teachers lounge and it just hits home, guys. Like what the teachers are complaining about and talking about and getting permission from the board and all this stuff and budgetary concerns for the uniforms. All that stuff are real things that schools deal with. And it's kind of cool for me as a teacher. Like it hits home for me in a lot of ways. And so yeah, I mean, and we get so many movies of like parents, of in the 90s specifically, a lot with Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark, that common 90s trope of like kids are in trouble, parents aren't believing them, they are isolated, now what do they do? That was like such a prevalent trope in like so many of the Goosebumps books. And to apply that to like a school building and the faculty, it's such a great concept for a movie, and the execution on it is fantastic. Um, right off the bat, the one of the things I love about this movie truly is that things aren't really explained, and you don't need to. There's no necessary explanation for anything that goes on. Um, the scene opens up, or the movie opens up, with Robert Patrick, on the football field, and you see the camera pan out to someone behind him confronting him, and that starts all of it. And you never really know what exactly happened and what this species was and how they came to Earth and all this, but it happens, and that's one of the again, that's like the John Carpenter, right? Like you don't know Halloween 78, you don't know why Michael. Spoiler alert, okay? If you haven't seen Halloween 78, turn away now. But I'm hoping if you're watching this channel, you've seen Halloween 78, my favorite movie of all time. But you don't really know why Michael can get shot 6 times and then get up at the end of the movie. And that's one of the things that makes it in my opinion, the greatest horror movie ever made. And Michael, the greatest horror icon of all time. But the what's the word I'm looking for? The Anyway, when it's done correctly and they can get that feeling from a movie where does not need to be explained, the execution is the word I'm looking for. When you have the execution of that kind of concept where things are not explained and it's still as just as powerful, I think it hits even harder. And again, that's Halloween, that's the faculty. There's no explanation needed for what happened. It just rocks and it's awesome and it rules. And I love that about the faculty. But anyway, so listen, this movie came out in 1998, guys. 98, and I did some deep diving before I came on here, and I got a list of 1998 horror movies. This could be my favorite year of horror of all time. And I don't know if I'm impartial because I was, 12 years old during 98, and some of these movies just really stuck for me when I was a kid. But listen to these movies that came out in 98, okay? So in addition to The Faculty, you have Apt Pupil, which is a Stephen King, novella that was, created for the movie. You have Blade, which holds a special place in my heart. Bride of Chucky, which I saw in the theaters. You have Deep Rising, okay, with Treat Williams, which is like a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen Deep Rising, go check it out. It fucking rules. Halloween H2O, which the first Halloween movie I ever saw was Halloween 4 and then 78, but Halloween H2O was one that was like, again, I was in middle school, I was 12 years old, so H2O was like the one that when I first really started taking ownership of watching horror movies and starting to think about them and watching them on my own, H2O was one of them. And I remember the commercials when Michael was like lowering himself on the on that bar in the like hallway, at the end of H2O. I had such nightmares about that scene. Just from the trailer and the commercial. I still know what you did last summer, which is fun. I love. I still know what you did last summer. You had Ringu, the Japanese version, so the original, and you had Urban Legend, guys. Urban Legend kept me up for weeks at a time. I shit you not, weeks at a time. Urban Legend, like that movie, like scared the fucking piss out of me. When I was a kid, and is still to this day one of my favorite '90s horror movies. Um, I love Urban Legend, and it was terrifying to little Robbie. And then you had John Carpenter's Vampire, and the Faculty. So just a great year for horror. Some absolute bangers that I hold near and dear to my heart. Now, I'm not here to say that all of you, are going to agree with that. You might have, there's some other. I think there's some um certain years that are going to stand out to some people more than others just because of the time period it came out in. And this one to me, 98 to me is just one of those movies that stands out to me, or one of those years that stands out to me because I was so, I was so impressionable at that time. And like, my love of horror was really starting to hit. I'd loved horror movies since I was little. My dad showed me Suspiria and Troll 2 and, which is crazy enough, but it's true. um, and Evil Dead. He showed me when I was young. And so when I started to be able to watch my own horror movies at 98, 99, that was a big time when I started kind of seeking these out on my own. So anyway, I digress. The Faculty in 4K. Now, this was such a big deal for me because I did not own this on physical media in any capacity. And like I said, it is one of my favorite '90s horror movies. It's up there with anything that came out in the '90s for me. It is just so well done, and I was actually getting chills while watching it because it's definitely been a couple years since I've watched it. And you can see, Scream. So this is a Scream Factory 4K. You can see that they put the original poster art there, which I am very happy about. I do like the original poster. I think I love it so much because it's grown to be an iconic cover for me. I don't think it's because anything on it is that special. I think just the image itself has been ingrained into my brain. That's why I love it so much. But I feel like there could have been a cooler design for it, but it still hits, guys. It hits for me right now. I love the font that they use for the Faculty, kind of like an alien spaceship on the A. And then you got the same artwork on there, on the um 4K slit case rather. So anyway, so you got the Faculty in 4K. Now I'll start off with the scan. Scan looks great. This is a surprisingly colorful movie. I had forgotten, but there's a lot of colors down to the cars that are in the movie, down to some of the scenes in the rain towards the end and in the gym. The palettes are very colorful, and maybe it's just because the 4K really pops. But I was very impressed with the color quality in this. The sound was great. I felt completely immersed. So excellent job on the scan, or on the transfer rather, and all that good stuff. Now, I will say that this movie is not loaded with extras. There are some things on here. I have not had a chance to really watch them yet, but there's not too much. There's The Thing from Another Classroom, which is an interview with special makeup and creature effects artist Greg Nicotero, which I want to see. And then an interview with production designer Carrie White. But that's about it. So it's not really loaded with extras, which is a bummer. But the real reason I bought this is A, because I wanted to have it on physical media, B, because I love this movie, and C, because this is a 4K, guys, of the Faculty. I just wanted this to own this movie. I mean, the truth is, if there were no extras on this, I still would have paid what they asked. This is a movie I was really happy to get on physical media, on disc. Etc. So the Faculty, if you haven't seen the movie, basically it's small town takeover. New girl moves into town. The football team, the star of the football team is acting all weird. The head of the newspaper is acting all weird, and you have this group of friends that is kind of like their character arcs get flipped on their head from weird things that are happening around their school and their community, and they start noticing that the faculty is acting weird, and we get to see as the audience some weird things happening behind the scenes. And it's the fallout of basically a small town alien takeover, and the teachers versus the students, and how this group of misfits kind of come together to rise up against their alien body faculty. And it just, I'm getting so like giddy thinking about it, because there's so many one liners like the guaranteed to jack you up, like Zeke Scat. um I thought Famke Janssen, who plays Zeke's English professor, who is like very sexually attracted to him, but kind of like a nerd, and like a librarian kind of nerdy type. And so there's a lot of sexual tension between them. I thought she was great in this movie. Jon Stewart as their science teacher, who does experiments on the new species, is fantastic. Piper Laurie is fantastic in this movie. There's just so much to love about this movie. The performances really are great. Elijah Wood as the nerd bomber who has zero confidence and has to gain confidence through all this. It hits really hard for me. It's like the Breakfast Club. It's in many ways, it's like if the Breakfast Club was a Goosebumps movie about alien takeover. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. It's like very John Hughes, but it's alien takeover, and it's the cast is outstanding. And so it's just fun. And like, there's also like, even if you know the ending, there are cool reveals throughout. Like, nothing is just like given to you as an audience. It really is just a great movie. And I think that it has aged even better. I think that when it came out, people dug it. I don't know how it did in the box office. I think it did relatively well. Um, but I think it's aged even better. I think this movie has grown to be like more than a cult favorite of people. I think this has grown like a tremendous amount of respect as an awesome horror movie. Kind of like Slither. Slither was a movie that people really liked when it came out, but it never really got any clout. And I think people are starting to realize that like that was a gem, and we should cherish that movie. And I think the faculty is the same. It's like, this is a gem, guys. This movie is almost perfect, and I'll go as far as to say it's almost a 10 out of 10 for me, at least. I don't know what I wouldn't change a thing about this movie, and I mean that. I love the faculty with all my heart, all my soul. Um, there's even like gratuity nudism at the end, which is like, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's in the locker room at the end. This chick's walking around naked, and it's just like, there's no reason for this, but like it is, you can tell it was just drawing inspiration from so many horror movies before it, and the Blob, and body snatch, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and it was just such a product of the times before it, and it was recreated and regrafted for the 90s, and it really is it's become such a genre piece for me. Like, it's there are so many great movies from the 90s, but few capture that 90s feel as much as the faculty. Oh, and I forgot one other star of this movie, fucking Usher Raymond, guys. Usher Raymond, Peace Up, A-Town Down, is stars in this movie as a football player. He doesn't have one line. He's a pretty big star in this movie. And he's awesome. Like, he does a great job. So, listen, guys, this is one of my Black Friday pickups. It wasn't on sale or anything, but I got like I picked up some Scream Factory stuff during the Black Friday sale, because I was a little backlogged with them, and their stuff's just so fucking expensive. It's annoying. But I was a movie I just couldn't turn down. I was like, I need this in my collection, and I don't know when the next, I don't know what's gonna be of it. So I was like, I'm getting it. I got this. I got Drag Me to Hell. I got Frankie Frico. I got the Elvira Haunted Hills box. I got the Shocker 4K and a bunch. I got Poltergeist 2. And I'd say probably about like half of the Itsy Bitsy. I'd say probably about half the titles I got were discounted. So I did my Vinegar Syndrome order, and I did my Scream Factory order. There wasn't too much that I really wanted. I decided to hold off on Severin because, like Scream Factory, their shit's just so expensive also. And there wasn't anything that really jumped out at me. I hit Severin really hard during the summer. during that sale. So I held off a little bit. I didn't pick anything from Seven, so I had a little bit of funding to work with, and I got a bunch of stuff from Screen Factory, and I'm very happy I did. So yeah, listen, guys, the Faculty 4K, in my opinion, was a must get, slam dunk purchase. It gets a yeah baby from me.
Yeah, baby.
I appreciate you guys hanging out. If you could do me a favor, if you could, let's see if I can find it. There it is. If you could subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. Give me a follow over on Instagram as well. I got a pretty decent following over there. I do a lot of posting. And yeah, guys, the Faculty 4K guaranteed to jack you up, guys. You heard it here, okay? Your boy Robbie Miles. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you guys have seen this one. If you're digging this one, if you're a fan of the 90s like me, if you're just a fan of the Faculty like me, because I love this movie. I'd love to talk to you guys about it. So hit me up in the comments. Looking forward to talking shop with you guys. And yeah, I will catch you guys later. Your boy Robbie Miles out. Peace.